I think there need to be. You know, Friday morning, the Weather Channel will take an in-depth look at bounce house safety. You can watch the full report on AMHQ.
And ahead on Weather Center Live, after lashing Bermuda, Hurricane Gonzalo packed its bags for a European vacation. We will show you how the storm survived the journey across the Atlantic.
Not a welcomed visitor either.
Not at all.
Plus, there's a new book sparking conversation in the weather community. It's about Superstorm Sandy and the controversial decision made just before landfall. We'll have a preview next.
Will new Twizzlers Mixed Berry Bites ever end their rivalry with new Jolly Rancher filled gummy bites? Not today. Bites, little greatness.
Attention homeowners. Quicken Loans has some very important information regarding the U.S. government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Nearly 3 million homeowners have already taken advantage of this fantastic money-saving program. But there are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. Quicken Loans is here to help you save money. Why Quicken Loans? The home loan experts at Quicken Loans fully understand the HARP guidelines. We'll work with you to understand your specific circumstances and strive to find the financial solution that's best for you. Then we'll guide you through each step of the mortgage refinance process to make sure that it's both simple and easy. If you weren't HARP eligible in the past, new guidelines could mean that now you are. Give us a call and we'll give you a Quicken Loans mortgage review. It's simple and easy. To learn more about this money-saving U.S. government program, call Quicken Loans today or go to quickenloans.com for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze.
What do you mean homeowners insurance doesn't cover floods?
A few inches of water caused all this?
But I don't even live near the water.
What you don't know about flood insurance may shock you, including the fact that a preferred risk policy starts as low as $129 a year. For an agent, call 188-RAIN-914.
There is something in the people, something in the sand, there's something in the air, something in the water, something in the night, and it's something you can only find here. Jamaica, home of all right. For deals on your trip to Jamaica, book with Delta Vacations.
Hey, big bag panorama corn salad, baby.
Normal snaps, Jebby, roll on Jim Big Dito Flash.
Now's the time to get in the loop. Just look for our fall TV picks with Xfinity On Demand.
You're driving along, having a perfectly nice day, when out of nowhere a pickup truck slams into your brand new car. 1 second, it wasn't there, and the next second, boom, you had your first accident. Now you have to make your first claim. So you talk to your insurance company, and boom, you're blindsided for a second time. They won't give you enough money to replace your brand new car. Don't those people know you're already shaken up?
Liberty Mutual's new car replacement will pay for the entire value of your car, plus depreciation. Call 1-888-731-2166. And for drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Switch to Liberty Mutual Insurance and you could save up to $423. Call Liberty Mutual for a free quote today at 1-888-731-2166. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
And now at 1-866-680-4971.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera.
Oh my God!
Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 72 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm. tonight. Thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Might be watching us with the volume turned up around the West Palm Beach area. It is hard to hear with that rain just thumping on the rooftop. If you are out on the road, say you're on 95 headed north from West Palm Beach, that windshield wiper is at its highest setting and you are going really slow. Rainfall rates over 1.5 inches per hour. And take a look at this. Just off to the southeast of West Palm Beach in 3 hours, you've seen over 4 inches of rainfall. So it has been a deluge. Flood advisories remain around the West Palm Beach area, and that does include the Interstate 95 corridor through the region. And over the next 6 hours, look at this, heavy thunderstorms sticking around through the late day commute. Dave, Michael, out to you.
Alex, I'm in the lab with Michael Lowry, our hurricane specialist and storm surge specialist. And we're looking at what once was Tropical Storm Gonzalo, which has now hit, what, England and Scandinavia?
As an extratropical system, got wrapped up in a really big Atlantic storm that just raked over parts of the UK over the past 24, 48 hours. In fact, we have some video, Dave, from Liverpool, England. Take a look at this. 108-mile-per-hour winds were reported in northern Scotland from this storm. It's very, very impressive wind, very impressive waves. You can see battering the coast here. You know, this is something that caused a lot of damage. 110 flights had to be canceled at Heathrow Airport. 10,000 passengers affected. Several people, unfortunately, dying from the trees falling on cars and cars getting stranded in water. Just goes to show you that even when we're done with these systems, done at least in terms of their tropical characteristics, they can have sort of like a little kind of injection of energy into these big systems over the North Atlantic.
Right, so 108-mile-an-hour winds out there. It might as well be a hurricane, even though officially it wasn't a tropical system anymore.
Right, exactly. Hurricane force winds from a non-tropical system. You know, the term remnant, we often talk about these as being remnant lows. Yeah. The remnant lows can cause more problems than the actual tropical system sometimes. Look how quickly this just blasted across the North Atlantic into Great Britain. And now it's going to make its way down, find its way down into parts of Europe, could bring some snowfall to the Alps.
To the Alps, wow.
So,
so it's just traveling around the big high-pressure ridge that sits
big
right
old subtropical ridge that sits right across the Atlantic Ocean, just following, as you said, the periphery of that.
And you said it was really zooming across. Does the speed itself contribute to the winds that are generated?
Well, not only the winds, but the waves, too. They have something we call trap-fetch wave growth, and you can get that with the faster-moving systems. Basically, the speed of the system and the speed of the waves add up, and then you get an increase in the wave action.
Now, you found something very interesting when you were looking at some satellite images last week.
Speaking of Gonzalo, Dave, I was going back and looking at this. We had noted this when the storm was happening. This was October 14th with Gonzalo, and look at these little striations on the edge of the outflow here. We are also seeing with Faye just a week earlier, or less than a week earlier, just 2 days earlier.
What are those?
These are what we call transverse cirrus bands, and we can find these sometimes in growing or intensifying tropical cyclones. We don't really know a lot about them. I kind of put it out there because if you're a young researcher, if you're a student out there, this is a good thing to look into. There are irregularly spaced bands of high clouds found on the edges of either intensifying or right after they're strengthening tropical cyclones. If you're in a plane, you do not want to go into those things. Very, very turbulent.
So write a thesis on this is your suggestion, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Michael Lowry, thanks so much. Dave and Michael from the lab, back to you, Alex.
Hey, somebody's watching. Somebody could get on that. Well, you know, there's a new book on shelves, a new book on the shelves that has the weather community at odds. It's about Superstorm Sandy and why a great forecast still wasn't enough to save lives. It's also the focus of this week's Weather Geek show.
There were some challenges that you revealed in the book in terms of the warning process. The National Hurricane Center had a really good handle on what was going on, but there were some challenges in terms of what we call the storm, how we warn for it. What were some of the lessons that you took from your research on the book?
Well, the storm, as you know, started off as a very traditional hurricane. And in fact, the forecasts in terms of both intensity and track were really quite good by the National Hurricane Center. But what happened several days in is the storm began to take on on this hybrid characteristic.
Sure.
And as soon as that happened, we saw some really serious gaps in how we deal with weather information.
And you can see more from Dr. Shepard and his interview this Sunday when he hosts Weather Geeks. This week's show, of course, an inside look at Superstorm Sandy. You just saw a snippet. And, we'll also include some of the untold stories that have meteorologists all across the country disagreeing with each other. Dave.
Now, when most people hear the term nor'easter, they think wind and snow. And they're right to some extent. We'll explain next.
With breath-freshening, cooling crystals. Icebreakers.
Making coffee?
Yeah. Enough for two.
Try 4, buddy.
I'll take a dark roast.
Chai tea, please.
Honey, text the man what you want.
French vanilla. Make it strong.
The all-new Keurig 2.0 is here. Brew for one, brew for all.
19 years ago, we thought, wow, how is there no way to tell the good from the bad? So we gave people the power of the review. And now Angie's List is revolutionizing local service again. You can easily buy and schedule services from top-rated providers. Conveniently stay up to date on progress and effortlessly turn your photos into finished projects with our SnapFix app. Visit angieslist.com today.
Oh yeah, that's going down. Oh, yeah. Let's get some rocks back.
Health can change in a minute. So CVS Health is changing healthcare, making it more accessible and affordable with over 900 locations for walk-in medical care and more on the way. Minute Clinic, another innovation from CVS Health. Because health is everything.
Where you want your first scratch, Craig? Your choice.
What are you doing with that key, Jake?
I'm thinking of scratching your car.
Well, you should stop thinking that.
You're a little bit too precious with it.
Don't touch my dart, Jake.
Come on, it's for your own good. You'll thank me later. Move out of the way so you don't get hurt. I mean it. It's gonna happen.
Jake.
Might as well be from a friend.
Step back, Jake.
Be ready for any job when you accept credit cards with Square. There's one low rate for every card. Send invoices for free. And you see money in your bank account as fast as the next business day. Save time doing your accounting with real-time sales reports. Take care of your business with Square. Get started for free at square.com.
A possible nor'easter bearing down on the eastern seaboard could affect tens of millions of folks with heavy rain, high winds, flooding, and major travel troubles. We've got you covered with everything you need, starting with Wake Up with Al at 5:30 and AMHQ with Sam Champion at 7. The Weather Channel mornings this week, starting at 5:30.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 72 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera. Oh my God! Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight, wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
It will be a royal gathering tonight in Kansas City. The World Series returns to KC for the first time since 1985.
It seems as if it was just yesterday.
Well, I remember you were watching that one. I was watching it as well.
Right.
I mean, it was a good one.
You
but
were a
they've
baby
been waiting
in
some time.
1985, huh?
I was a wee little one.
No roof, you noticed that, huh?
No.
So the weather's really going to play a big role. This half hour, we're going to preview who has the advantage this World Series when it comes to playing in the elements.
Yeah, you want to stay tuned
Pretty
for that.
interesting, huh?
Yeah, and you know, if you don't like that, we've got more for you. We thank you so much for staying with us here on Weather Center Live. Weather geeks and sports geeks unite. That's right. I'm Alex Olson.
I'm Dave Schwartz. Well, folks in Kansas City are ready for that game tonight, and so are we, obviously. They've been waiting a long time for a game this big, but they won't have to deal with winds and rain like our friends in the Northeast, huh?
No.
Or even our enemies in the Northeast, for that matter.
Yeah, you know, you wouldn't wish this weather on anybody, would? Yeah, you would. It's not going to be the worst you've ever seen, but we're talking rain. We're talking some hail. We've seen some small hail into places like New Jersey today. And we're talking gloomy. New York City, this is not the gloomiest you'll be. The worst of the weather coming Wednesday and Thursday. Dave has more on the forecast.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that ain't nothing. I mean, that ain't nothing. We got a nor'easter for New England and Long Island and down into New York State. Southeast New York and Jersey, at least for a while, but it's going to be New England that takes the brunt of it. I've had my eyes on the radar all afternoon at this area of rain, just north of Interstate 80 here in western Pennsylvania. Be very careful. This is a hilly region, so there could be some flooding, so be careful driving around here, okay? Just some light showers in Pittsburgh, 53 and raining in Pittsburgh right now, but conditions will improve over the next couple of days, while closer to the coast, conditions are going to go downhill. Not much green on the radar right now except for this big thunderstorm south of Long Island. The air is fairly dry over Long Island right now. Maybe the eastern end of Long Island could see some thunderstorms here later this afternoon. Amagansett, perhaps, and then up toward Groton, Connecticut. But the big story here is this low pressure area that's going to form off the Delmarva Peninsula tonight. You'll notice the center right there. There's the center, and watch it move to the northeast, and notice how the lines grew. Well, the steeper or the deeper or the stronger this area below pressure, the more lines of equal pressure, the isobars. That means strong winds. Strong winds means water piling up along the coast. And this is a nor'easter, so it's northeast winds coming and filling up Boston Bay, Cape Cod Bay, etc. We know all about this in the New England coast, so let's get ready for it. The wind, the rain, the coastal flooding, that's coming up the next couple of days. Conditions will go from not too bad right now to not too good. Wednesday, Thursday. By the weekend, we're looking much better. Alex, back to you.
Hey, Dave, you know, on social media, there is a debate brewing over the question, is the storm moving into the New England area a nor'easter? Well, because when a lot of people think of that type of storm, they think of snow, heavy winds. Well, we sent the Weather Channel's Dave Malkoff to look at the controversy and the discussion behind the term.
We could potentially see the eye wall here. Hurricanes have a speedometer.
Up from the West Indies, cradle of hurricanes, move the terror.
When sustained winds blow over 74 miles an hour, it's a hurricane. If it blows over 157 miles an hour, it's a Cat 5. No meteorologist will debate you on that. Same thing for blizzards.
In its prison of snow.
There is a definition for the term blizzard, winds of over 35 miles an hour for a 3-hour period of time with falling or blowing snow. In a nor'easter, it's a little more ambiguous. You don't have a definition for the wind speed.
There's a Weather Channel definition, there's a National Weather Service definition, there's one on Wikipedia. Let's just have Tom Nizzle explain it for you.
So here we have a low pressure system. The low pressure system is moving toward the northeast into the northeastern U.S., but that's not why it's named. It's named for the wind direction that comes from these storms.
And that ambiguity with the name is what causes some behind-the-scenes fights between meteorologists and weather weather geeks, take this coming storm as an example. An amateur forecaster from Connecticut says this is not a nor'easter, but a meteorologist nearby disagrees. Then a student from New Jersey says this will not be a nor'easter, in my opinion. The National Weather Service in Maine agrees, saying it's just a midweek rainstorm. Then the Weather Channel's Keith Carson fires back, it is a nor'easter. Now, Urban Dictionary defines a flame war as an internet discussion that devolves into personal attacks. While this doesn't meet those strict guidelines for a flame war, people are still getting fired up.
Really weather-hardy New Englanders are going to look at this and say, this ain't no nor'easter. This is just a good rainstorm with wind. So this is going to be plenty of room for discussion here.
I'll just stay with you.
Yeah, we've got some new signs of life in the Gulf of Mexico. Dave Schwartz is in here giving us goldfish. And, you know, we're talking about the tropics. So, Michael Lowry, you've joined us here in the studio because this is a system that could be something already impacting U.S. weather, though.
Yeah, it already is. You can see that sort of mid and high level moisture peeling off toward Florida. That's helping to increase the rainfall over the southern part of the peninsula. 50-50 shot, though, from the Hurricane Center that this develops into a tropical depression or a name storm. If it becomes a name storm, the next name on the list would be Hannah. Okay. They're already up to the H storm. But it's got a little ways to go. I'll show you why. If you take a look at the visible picture, first I want to show you, though, Alex, there are hurricane hunters flying down there earlier this morning, just now getting into where, and you can kind of see, this is where they think if there's some sort of circulation.
Right. This is roughly, you can use the guidelines to actually help you.
If you look at the wiggly lines there, that's sort of where they're going back and forth, trying to see if they can find a defined center. This is what I was saying earlier, though, guys. You can see the spin. You can kind of see where Alex on her end, right in there, and it's moving very, very slowly off toward the east. But notice over here, all of the thunderstorms are on sort of the east side of it. That's where the convergence, the low-level winds that are coming together are strongest on the eastern side of it. The western part of this circulation, if you will, it's still kind of broad, is not as defined, not as sharp. It's more of a, looks more of like a an elliptical shape rather than a circular shape. So not quite there yet, and that's because the upper level winds, if we zoom out a little bit, you can kind of see, and you were talking about this earlier.
Right, we've got the upper level cloud cover you can see moving really from west to east. Some of the lower level clouds moving from right to left.
Right, those low-level clouds up here to the north, the upper clouds to the south moving in the opposite direction. That wind shear is what's really kept this in check, guys, and that's the good part of this story, is that wind shear is going to be there at least for the next 24 to 48 hours. You can see all those winds, again, that moisture spreading across parts of Florida. Let's show you the radar out of Florida. We were saying in West Palm how they were seeing already some street flooding there, and unfortunately a soggy week. Yeah, a lot of questions, though, at the end of the week. So let's try to answer those for you as we time this out. There's a cold front that's coming down. Another reinforcing shot of cold air is going to come down for late week into the weekend. And this is going to stay to the south of that. Eventually, though, it's going to get over here into the Bay of Campeche, the Western Caribbean, where the upper winds could come down a little bit. And we'll see how close it gets to that front. If that front gets far enough to the south and catches it, development would be lower. If the front stays more to the north, and this stays to the south, development would be higher. Unfortunately, we got to deal with this through the weekend, so this is not going anywhere anytime soon.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Thank you so much, Michael. All right, Dave, I'm going to toss back to you. Better not have orange goldfish cracker in your teeth.
Okay, my homes. Hey, ahead on Weather Center Live, all eyes on the World Series tonight. Who you got? Mother Nature may have a say in the outcome. We've got some cool stats to show you next. Plus, our top 5 videos a day. Where will this one fall on the countdown?
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 71 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
How did I set a new personal record today? I started with a test run. Then I got a solid night's rest in a great room. And before I hit the road, I hit the breakfast bar, where I got my fuel for the next 26 miles.
Great endings begin here. That's why at Choice Hotels, we give you cozy rooms, free breakfast, and right now when you take 2 separate trips, you earn 1 night free. Book now at choicehotels.com.
When he first joined the Army, I was very nervous.
We didn't know what they would have him doing. But Bobby always had a plan.
With unmatched training in over 150 careers beyond the battlefield, there are over 150 surprising ways to become Army strong. Talk to your son or daughter about opportunities in the Army.
Seatbelts, headrests, and airbags help you survive a crash. But if you upgrade your headlights, you may even avoid one. See farther, wider, better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
December 7th. Go ahead, mark your calendars. It's the last day you can switch your Medicare Part D plan. We're ready, and we can't wait to switch. What I wanted was simple, the most value for my dollar. So now that it's time, we're making the move to a plan that really works for us.
Make the switch to an AARP Medicare RX plan insured through United Healthcare. Open enrollment ends December 7th, so don't wait. Call now for a free enrollment guide, which includes a summary of plan benefits and other helpful information, or enroll right over the phone. Discover why AARP Medicare RX Part D plans are so popular with over 5 million plan members and counting. Choose a plan with low premiums or one with no annual deductible and start saving with your first prescription fill.
Plus, we'll be covered at like 60,000 pharmacies. So if we visit our kids in Portland or go anywhere in the country, we know we're covered.
Enjoy copays for as low as $1 with the Preferred Retail Pharmacy Network, which includes thousands of pharmacies and retail locations like these. United Healthcare has worked to get low costs for plan members.
I called the moment I heard about it. I even got help picking out the perfect plan for me. So did my wife. It was easy, really easy.
Get ready for a Part D plan that gives you low premiums or no annual deductible and coverage you can be happy with.
December 7th is coming. I'm glad we're switching.
Open enrollment ends December 7th, so don't wait. Make the switch to an AARP Medicare RX plan. With United Healthcare, you'll discover a great way you could save money while making sure you're taking care of yourself. So call now for a free enrollment guide, which includes a summary of plan benefits and other helpful information. Or enroll right over the phone. AARP Medicare RX plans insured through United Healthcare. Call today.
Away is as much about getting there as it is being there. Away is where the days are packed with wonder. And the evenings are filled with familiar comforts. Find your away. For a dealer in the RV that's right for you, visit GoRVing.com.
The boys of October, the Fall Classic, the World Series begins tonight. So who will win the game? Alex, what do you think?
You know, we might not know that. I got to go with the Royals. You know, they're going to be the home team. They're undefeated, but the forecast might hold the answer, and it might change your opinion. Here's Vivian Brown and Paul Goodlow.
Oh, you think they know?
I think so.
Well, the World Series is finally here. Game 1 between the San Francisco Giants and the Kansas City Royals is tonight at 8:07 Eastern. And we have the forecast for you. Looks pretty good, in fact. Clear skies with temperatures in the middle 60s. Now, in my opinion, that is perfect baseball weather. But I'm joined down by meteorologist Paul Goodlow, and you say not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast, Viv. You deal with Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. It all depends on the wind. Take a look at some of these stats. When the wind blows from the outfield to home plate, we have less than 1 home run on average this year at the ballpark. Meanwhile, left to right wind, well, just over 1 home run so far per game this year. But then tonight's wind, it's going to be left to right. And that, look at this stat here, 1.5 home runs per game when you have that wind in that direction. And that is what we have right now. So the wind coming basically just off of first first base all the way out here to the left outfield. That will actually help the guys who can hit the ball a long way. And the visiting Giants, well, they got some bombers on their squad here. Take a look at the stats here. Buster Posey, 22 home runs in the regular season, 14 coming off of right-handed pitching. Again, Shields on the mound, a right-hander tonight. He's going to throw tonight. Meanwhile, behind him, we have Hunter Pence. He has 20 home runs, 16 versus right-hand pitching. But get this, we got 2 zeros here in terms of home runs so far this postseason. So they're throwing no home runs so far this year. Now, what about the home team? Well, we got Perez. He has 17 home runs in the regular season. He has no hits off of tonight's starter, Bumgarner, although Billy Butler, he has 9 home runs, and he is 1-3, and one of those being a home run against Bumgarner. But again, overall, KC, one of the lowest teams in terms of home runs in the major leagues. They don't have a lot of power compared to the Giants. So again, the forecast with these winds blowing from left to right, if you got tickets out here by the foul pole, they got bleachers out here, that's the place to get your mitt, because that's where a lot of the long balls should be flying tonight with the aid of the wind out there. But again, look at the forecast. You're thinking, oh, beautiful weather for baseball, but that wind from the east, southeast, Viv, that perhaps could give the visiting Giants a little edge up in tonight's matchup.
And we do want to point out that both of these are wild card teams.
Yes, the first time since 2002 we've had 2 wild card games make it all the way to the World Series. And hey, the Royals, home team, you can't count out destiny. They're undefeated so far this postseason.
You cannot battle with that, okay? Undefeated, okay. All right, Kansas City, San Francisco, tonight at 8:07. You know, it always surprises me why they don't start at 8 o'clock or 8:30. Why is it 8:07?
So you tune in at 8, the pregame, and then you watch the game.
That's it. Okay, well, you have the forecast, great weather, a beautiful game tonight, and may the better team win. I'm sure it will.
Thanks.
I think we're going to see Paul Goodlow on ESPN one of these days.
I think there's a good bet of it. All right, well, you know what time it is now?
What time is it?
High five, top 5 time.
Oh,
Because
I
we've
like
got some
that.
best
High
videos.
5, top 5. We're starting with number 2 this time.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's 5.
No, it's 5.
Okay.
Well, this fantastic picture of Earth was snapped last night by Reed Wiseman. The moon is setting on the far side of the spinning Earth. That's
and look
not
at
the
those
sun, it's
clouds with the shadows.
How cool. And
They're
some
so
lightning.
Cool. Look at that. Yeah. Number 4, staying in space. Check out this solar flare. This image captured by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory. Check out this flare from Sunday. Okay, we checked it out.
Neat. All right, let's get to number 3 because the remnants of Gonzalo are pounding the New Haven Harbor in East Sussex, England today. Not a jolly good time there.
Number 2, not often you see a fireball in the sky, much less catch it on camera.
Wow.
Look at that. From Trussville, Alabama. Oh, we think that really was a fireball, or was something like shooting off, you know.
But you know, if you were out taking the garbage can out last night, you caught that, you were lucky.
Number 1. Number 1. Alex, you do it.
Wow.
Whoa, it's a double.
At least 9 towering waterspouts were spotted Monday over the central portion of China's largest lake in the country's northwest part.
Wow.
Here you're looking at 3 of those waterspouts. They usually appear on large lakes in the autumn when cold air rushes above the warmer lake waters. How about that?
That is so cool. Oh, look at that. Send us your videos anytime at weather.com/videos. Photos.
Yeah, and we know what we've got for you next.
What's that?
Tropical update.
Get out of here.
It's true.
Ring, ring. Progresso. It's okay that your soup tastes like my homemade.
It's our slow-simmered vegetables and tender white meat chicken.
Apology accepted. I'm watching you, soup people.
Make it Progresso or make it yourself.
What do you mean homeowners insurance doesn't cover floods?
A few inches of water caused all this?
But I don't even live near the water.
What you don't know about flood insurance may shock you, including the fact that a preferred risk policy starts as low as $129 a year. For an agent, call 188-RAIN-914.
a flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 71 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I was out for a bike ride. I didn't think I'd have a heart attack, but I did. I'm Mike, and I'm very much alive. Now my doctor recommends a Bayer aspirin regimen to help prevent another heart attack.
Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Listen up, Thunder Dragons. It's time to get a hotel.
Hey, Razor, check this out. We can save big with Priceline Express deals.
You know what, man? These guys ain't no dragons.
They're cool. These deals are legit.
Yeah, we're cool.
She's cool. We're cool.
Check.
Energizer protects your devices from damaging leaks. Guaranteed.
Let's take these piggies out for new carpet. No, not those. These. Let's get in touch with texture. Something with a twist. Let's look at loops and get a feel for patterns in all sorts of colors. But let's not break the bank. Then, let's get it rolled out right. The perfect carpet? Yeah. Let's bring it all the way home. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Schedule a measure today. Carpet installation is now just $37.
Each year, 17 billion toilet paper tubes are thrown away in the U.S. alone. That's enough to fill the Empire State Building. Twice. Now there's Scott Naturals tube-free.
Let's face it, life happens on your wood floors. And well, life can be hard on them. So to keep them beautiful, despite life's little ups and downs, trust Bona for quick and easy everyday cleaning, long-lasting shine, and a lifetime of protection. Safe for your floors, Green Guard certified for a healthier home. Everyday solutions for clean and beautiful floors, no matter what. Bona, recommended by professionals since 1919.
Fact: up to 20% of Americans avoid going to the dentist because of anxiety or fear, adding to their health risks. Today, there are many advances in pain-free dentistry. Finding the right dentist is key to coping with your fears. With 6 convenient locations, Cedar Dental can help determine the best ways to make you feel less anxious and more comfortable. Call today to schedule your next appointment. See the smile, see the difference. Cedar Dental.
967-2350. The savings could really add up.
The wildest weather ever caught on camera.
Oh my God!
Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Take a look at this. West Palm Beach, we've got flooding on Flagler Drive. This is courtesy of WPTV, and they have seen a ton of rain around the West Palm Beach area. Take a look at the radar right now, because I shouldn't say they have seen, they continue to see a ton of rain falling across the area. We've got the oranges, the reds. That's indicative of very, very heavy rainfall. So right in the city itself, you've seen a let up, but it's still raining and the heavy rain is still around. Belle Glade, you've seen some torrential downpours. Off towards Fort Lauderdale, a few here and there, but most of the action has been focused for West Palm Beach over towards Belle Glade. Off to the west of Belle Glade, delayed. Over 6 inches in 6 hours, over 5 inches closer to West Palm Beach. Flood advisories are in effect. That includes the 95 corridor, where travel in this area is going to be treacherous. We are talking heavy rain, reduced visibilities, and ponding on roadways. Michael Lowry, over to you. Michael Butler's in charge of the graphics.
He's the guy. He's in charge of everything.
He
Alex.
is.
We
He's
know
the
that.
man.
Let's talk about what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico right now. There's a Hurricane Hunter plane that's flying down in the Bay of Campeche, which is just to the west of the Yucatan Peninsula, at the very south end of the Gulf of Mexico. And here's what they're finding. I want to show you where they are on the map. They took off from Biloxi earlier this morning and making a few circles around where we think the center of this area of low pressure is. And you can see the spin to the cloud on the visible picture, the turning and the twisting motion over in here. And on the east side of where that spin is, right in here, you can see some of those brighter white cloud tops beginning to pop up. There's more of the convergence. There's more of the winds coming together on the east side than on the west side. That's why this is sort of very disorganized looking. It's deceiving. It's very difficult to see just from the satellite picture how organized this is. But the plane down here finding pressures, estimating pressures at least of 1,002 millibars. That's very, very low pressure, guys. When you have low pressure or pressures that low in the Gulf, it doesn't take a whole lot of thunderstorms or organization to those thunderstorms to kick off a tropical depression or a tropical storm. So that's why we're watching this one really, really closely. The Hurricane Center is giving this a 50-50 shot of becoming a named storm or a depression down the road here this week. It's got those upper winds to contend with for the time being. You can see how quickly those cloud tops are just screaming off from the left part of your screen to the right part of your screen. Upper level winds, upper level wind shear, that's going to limit the growth of this, I think, in the short term. But eventually, this is going to make its way across the Yucatan Peninsula. There's a cold front that's going to come down, a reinforcing shot of cool air into Florida, actually go all the way down to the Florida Straits and stall out. And at this point, say Thursday or Friday late week, we're going to have this low pressure area in the northwestern Caribbean, where the winds, the upper winds, are expected to relax a little bit.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Again, that we could see development, and then it just really depends on what happens and how it interacts with this front. If it gets tangled up in the front goes away and it lifts back to the north. A lot of questions, a lot of things that we're going to have hopefully answers for in the upcoming days. But if you live in Florida, expect some heavy rainfall at the very least from this later this week. Back to you.
The Weather Channel's giving away a free trip to San Francisco. And there it is.
We won. You all won.
We all won.
Everyone's a winner.
Look at the skies here, huh? That looks like, what, from 100 years ago or something? What are those galleys doing there?
I don't know.
And
but it's
where
just
are the
adding
seals?
to the appeal.
It is gorgeous. That's like
and
a
where's the
picture
Ghirardelli, Ghirardelli ice
Square
cream?
And that chocolate place, right.
That's a good thing. And you know, we've got the blue sky now, but we're actually going to be talking about some much needed rain for parts of the West.
We are. Yes, it's raining up in Washington State and over to Montana. My God, Butte, Montana. They gusted to 46 miles an hour. A couple hours ago, they're 41 degrees. We could use some of that here in California.
They'd love to see it. Wouldn't they? Exceptional drought, 58% of the state within that category, unchanged from where they were last week. But we are talking about major problems. Yesterday saw a little bit of rain up into Northern California. Today, as you mentioned, a little further towards the north and northeast.
Right. We're dry now, but more rain is on the way for us in California, and that's one state in the country that needs it really badly. The jet stream situation is setting up. That's the Gulf of Alaska low, and that's the moisture that's headed to the northwest.
There it is, focused right into the northwestern U.S. So we are going to be talking about some heavy rainfall at times over the next few days. So the forecast looks like this, that upper level low streaming that moisture off towards the east right into that part of the country. We'll be talking showers and inches of rain possible for some of those higher elevations.
Perfect. All right, now it's time for a heads up for parents.
Yeah, because these parents watch
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
with a child inside.
Get a closer look at how this dangerous situation developed next.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 71 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Now, those scenes of waves crashing and the blowing snow, I'm talking about in your mind, in your mind's eye. Well, that's what you think of when you hear the word nor'easter, right?
But it's not always the case, as millions of people in New England will find out over the next 24 hours. We are going to break down the dangerous conditions and we'll time out the storm.
So we're breaking it down, huh?
We are.
Plus, trouble in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll show you if this little area over there will be our next named tropical storm and which part of the continental U.S. could be the target.
It is a moment.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Playhouse became airborne in a matter of minutes.
I think you just described it.
Yeah. But we got in-depth analysis.
I see.
From the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you are watching Weather Center Live. And when that in-depth analysis comes from Dr. Greg Forbes, you can't beat it.
Right,
So,
and you can't leave the TV either.
no, you can't. So we thank you so much for joining us and staying with us today. I'm Alex Wilson.
I'm Dave Schwartz. Dr. Forbes is probably one of the most compelling people on the Weather Channel, I think, to watch. That video was amazing, and you're going to hear from Dr. Forbes, get his insight into what the heck happened. That's coming up in just a few minutes. But first, our focus to the Northeast.
Well, it's going to be a little windy at times, so I could see how you got a little
wind got in my mouth there.
Exactly, exactly. You know, we've got a look at Pittsburgh, Boston. We did have Portland, Maine, but you know what? Everybody's getting on the internet in Portland, Maine, because it's yucky out there, and they just want to go inside. Rain showers over the next several days, heavy at times. Dave, you've got the forecast.
I do have the forecast, and I'll tell you, it's a forecast, well, for a bad spell of weather here for New England. Bad spell of weather for New England. Corny, I know. Hey, here we go. Big swirl in the atmosphere, aloft. And here at the surface, low pressure over Pennsylvania. Another area of low pressure develops off the coast of the Delmarva Peninsula. And we are in for a good old-fashioned nor'easter, especially in New England. That's where it's really, it'll mature, it'll strengthen during the day tomorrow, move up off the coast of Cape Cod and the islands, strengthening as it goes, and the winds will be strong. Coming at us from the northeast. That's why it's called a nor'easter. Strong northeast winds, coastal flooding, heavy rain to the tune of maybe 3 to 5 inches, especially Maine and New Hampshire, and there could be some flooding here in the northern Appalachians.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Now, do you know what the term nor'easter means? Well, no better person to answer that question than our winter weather expert. Let's go to the lab and go in depth with meteorologist Jennifer Delgado and winter weather expert Tom Nizzle.
No better snow expert out there than Tom Nizzle. We're glad he is back and had the season off, but now we're going to be talking about a nor'easter. And you know what? What is a nor'easter for the folks at home? I know I gave a little bit of a description there, but nothing like what you can break down.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you what it is not. Let's take a look. Here is the low pressure system on our chalkboard here. This is the nor'easter. It's in the northeast U.S. That's now moving in the northeast direction. That's now why it's not.
Why is it called a nor'easter?
Simply put, Jen, it has to do with the northeast winds ahead of this system. Those are the winds that people up here feel, and they know it's a precursor to this big storm.
Right, and that's exactly what they're going to be feeling. Now, so the winds are coming in from the northeast. It's October, the end of October, but if this was in January, this could be a totally different story, right?
Major snowstorm in January, but let me show you why it's not. So we're going to get
let's move this out of
the classroom now and onto
the fancy
the big board here. Yeah, so if we take a look at the high temperatures today, New York City, 58 degrees. Not bad at the surface, but the weather occurs up in the atmosphere.
Right.
Now let's take a look at what the atmosphere looks like as far as temperature. And as we look in the first few thousand feet of the atmosphere, it's way above freezing. So snow's forming way up here at 10,000 feet. It falls into the warm air, and what happens?
It's going to melt.
Melts away, and we get all rain. But when we get later into the season, the January time frame is an example. Now you look at an example here at New York at 28 degrees. The air is well below freezing through the depth of the atmosphere.
So it will hold that precipitation together in the form of snow.
And it is going to be in the form of snow. The other thing, there's a nice sweet spot at about 15 to 20 degrees in the atmosphere. That is where you get the best snowflake production. And so when we see that layer in the atmosphere, Temperatures
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
snowflakes that come down, and it can come down in earnest. And that is why New Englanders, oftentimes when they think nor'easter, they immediately think major winter storm.
Must run to the store.
Absolutely.
And get ready for this big thing, but not this time.
In this case here, it's going to be an all-rain event. A lot of the stronger winds are going to be up in Maine along the coastal areas there. Going to gale force at times. There's going to be some pretty big waves and a lot of rainfall coming in off of the Atlantic as well, as much as 2 to 3 inches in a lot of these areas.
All right, well, the good news is, of course, we're going to be following this, and we'll have live coverage coming out of Maine. And right now, we're going to send it right back over to you.
Thank you, guys. Well, a new system in the Gulf of Mexico could pose a threat to Florida. Still in the early stages of development, but still, we want to bring in our hurricane specialist, Michael Lowry, to take a look.
Hey, Alex, I want to start off by talking about the heavy rainfall that's occurring across the Florida Peninsula. There is a flash flood warning up for parts of West Palm Beach. There's a flood advisory also up for that same area. Look at our radar right now. You can see all of that moisture is actually coming from the tropics. This is the area that we're looking at right now, seeing flooded streets. Some reports at weather stations up to 6 or 7 inches of rain so far today. That's a tremendous amount of rainfall. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's letting off anytime soon. But on zooming out, you can see this is coming from our invest, loosely at least, the mid and high level moisture at least, streaming up along this frontal boundary that's draped across the Gulf of Mexico right now. This is what we're watching for possible tropical development this week. The National Hurricane Center giving this a 50-50 shot of becoming a depression or a named storm over the next 5 days. If it does get a name, the next name on the list would be Hannah. This is what it looks like on the visible picture. It doesn't look like a whole lot, and when you look at it, you say, how is this have a 50-50 shot of development? Well, there's certainly a spin to the clouds. Hurricane hunters are in there right now, and what they're finding are very, very low pressures with this area of spin tucked away down here in the very southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, 1,001, 1,002 millibars. So if you can get organization to the thunderstorms, you're starting to see a little bit of the convection on the east side, not so much on the west side of this, then you can get a tropical cyclone, a tropical depression, or a named storm kick off very quickly. Here's what it has working against it, though, is all of that wind shear. The winds, see, the low-level winds are coming in this direction from right to left. The upper winds are blowing in the opposite direction from left to right. That difference in the wind literally just chops off the tops of thunderstorms. That limits the growth and development of these systems. Coming up here in a little bit, though, I'm going to break down the forecast, where it might go, who could be impacted. Everyone really in the Gulf Coast needs to pay attention to this one for the week, or for the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Michael. And you need to pay attention to this one, parents. It has happened again.
Wind rips a bounce house off the ground. This time a boy was inside.
Coming up next, an in-depth look at what went wrong. It's expert analysis that you can only get at the Weather Channel.
So I'm the one living with type 2 diabetes. And I've listened to the tips, the trends, and have you tried this? Now, I'm ready for someone to listen to me.
Welcome to FitToMe.com, your free custom-fit diabetes support program that actually listens to you. Start building your Fit to Me program today using key areas of diabetes management. Let's start with food. Mexican? Asian?
Italian.
Want recipes that reduce calories or carbs? Which activity feels more like you? Cardio or couch curls? Choose a digital coach, tough love, or a gentle nudge. You can even get a toolkit with treatment options to discuss with your doctor. Fit to Me also inspires you through games and team challenges.
So what kind of plan will I stick with? My plan.
Get your plan. Go to FitToMe.com and enter code CAN to get started.
A possible nor'easter bearing down on the eastern seaboard could affect tens of millions of folks with heavy rain, high winds, flooding, and major travel troubles. We've got you covered with everything you need, starting with Wake Up with Al at 5:30 and AMHQ with Sam Champion at 7. The Weather Channel mornings this week, starting at 5:30.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 71 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm. tonight. Thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Weather ever caught on camera. Oh my God. Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight, wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Sweetie, I'd love a hazelnut. Mom, Dad, Big Uncle Wayne.
Hot chocolate.
Green tea.
Decaf, cuz.
Wow.
I'm dying for an herbal tea.
The all-new Keurig 2.0 is here.
This is a Pip.
It's part of a Hershey's bar.
We break it.
We bite it.
We sneak it.
We smush it. We savor it.
We love it.
Hershey's is mine. Yours.
Our chocolate.
What if there was a credit card where the reward was that new car smell and the freedom of the open road? A card that gave you that I'm 16 and just got my first car feeling. Presenting the Buy Power card from Capital One. Redeem earnings toward part or even all of a new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or Cadillac with no limits. So every time you use it, you're not just shopping for goods. You're shopping for something great. Learn more at buypowercard.com.
O pessoal vai correndo aqui, ó. Só um momento que a natureza acaba surpreendendo o pessoal. Olha ali o mato ali, gente. Imagem do mato. Quebrou a árvore ali, né? Agora vem aqui pro lado da galera, hein? O pessoal vai ter que correr, hein? O pessoal vai ter que correr. O moleque vai brincando ali, ó. Vixe, tá vindo pra cá. Olha o brinquedo lá, gente. O brinquedo. Olha só. Imagens aqui impressionantes, o vento.
Laughs and cheers turned to screams at a festival in Sao Paulo, Brazil last week. You just saw a dust devil lift a trampoline and toss it like a toy. It goes on to lift one of those inflatable bounce houses off the ground, throws it across the street. A 9-year-old boy was actually inside at the time that happened.
Yeah,
luckily he is expected to be okay, but quite a scary scene.
Oh my gosh, I'll tell you, this is something we've seen a lot here in the U.S. and that must just give parents nightmares to see stuff like that. Right now we want to take a closer look at how it happened. So, severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes is in the lab. He will break down the video from beginning to end.
As you see, dust devils can cause some damage. This was a relatively strong one. Here is the dust devil right here. You see it's picking up dust that's being pulled in from right to left into the dust devil, and then it rises up. Let's roll that video, and you'll see the dust devil moving toward the left. Now, what you can also see is that this is rotating counterclockwise. Now, this is kind of the wrong direction for the southern hemisphere. Most tornadoes rotate clockwise there because it is in the southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, most of them rotate counterclockwise. This one is rotating very strongly. Inflow coming in a shallow layer and then rising upward, of course spinning counterclockwise, as I say. People are watching it pretty close. It's beginning to move off toward the left. There, it's had enough wind in it that it's broken over this small tree, so dust devils can cause damage. As we continue to roll along, you'll see that it's picking up all sorts of papers, tossing those around, and then it begins to pick up even some bigger things. There it's coming across a roadway, and as you'll see here, it begins to pick up this part of this trampoline, tosses it about. The upward motions within the dust devil pick it up and then swirl it around counterclockwise, toss it over as it carries it off toward the left there. And we have then some additional video that shows that this dust devil also picked up a bounce house. There goes the bounce house. It's picked it up in the air with its upward motion, levitates it up maybe 50 or so feet high. And unfortunately, there was a person that was inside, a child that was inside this bounce house that actually falls out. We'll pause the video there once it does one pirouette here and bounces up across the tree, and you'll see that a child actually, here it comes, you'll see it, the child's over in this corner and the child falls out. The child was fortunately unhurt. So dust devils, they can have winds that are over 50 miles per hour. Maybe the strongest ones might approach 100 miles per hour, and even over land in the United States we've had some reports of them doing some damage. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Forbes. You know, that happened in Brazil, but according to a recent study, bounce house-related injuries have spiked here in the U.S. in recent years. And right now, there are no national safety guidelines for these kind of inflatables.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be guidelines about
tacking them down,
into the ground,
making
weights.
sure, wind restrictions, when you can't use them, when you can use them.
Hard to regulate that one, though. Hey, Friday morning, the Weather Channel takes an in-depth look at bounce house safety, just this very issue. You can watch that, the full report on AMHQ.
And ahead on Weather Center Live, we have Gonzalo. After lashing Bermuda, it packed its bags for a European vacation. We're going to show you how the storm survived the journey across the Atlantic.
That's right. These hurricanes just don't disappear when they leave.
No, they don't.
Plus, we learned many lessons from Superstorm Sandy. Oh, didn't we? And now that knowledge is being used to help fight another potential disaster, that story is next. That's after your local on the 8s.
And we leave you with a look at flooding in West Palm Beach, where it has been pouring, courtesy of WPTV.
Get up to 20% off and 1,000 rewards points at bestwestern.com with a swipe, a tap, or a click. Get up to 20% off and enjoy breakfast, free high-speed internet, and 1,000 rewards points only at bestwestern.com.
Sir, we're going to need you on the runway.
Theraflu starts to get to work in your body.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Theraflu breaks you free from your worst cold and flu symptoms. Theraflu, serious power.
You do a lot to keep your family safe at home. So make sure they're safer on the road. See farther, wider, better. Upgrade to Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
When he first joined the Army, I was very nervous.
We didn't know what they would have him doing. But Bobby always had a plan.
With unmatched training in over 150 careers beyond the battlefield, there are over 150 surprising ways to become Army strong. Talk to your son or daughter about opportunities in the Army.
Cooper engineers its tires not just for performance, but real life performance. So before you get in, get going. Get gone. You need to get a tire that gets you, because life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Buy 4 qualifying Cooper tires and get up to a $70 prepaid card by mail. See retailer for details.
Away is the crackle of the campfire. It can be 1,000,000 years old or a few weeks young. Away beckons from Orion's belt. Away is a place that's closer than you think. Find your Away. For a dealer in the RV that's right for you, visit GoRVing.com.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Eastern seaboard could affect tens of millions of folks with heavy rain, high winds, flooding, and major travel troubles. We've got you covered with everything you need, starting with Wake Up with Al at 5.
From the very minute you have this idea that you want to be in business, you need to have that card.
Presentation is everything, because they're not only first impression of you, but now you're handing them this product that really is kind of going to define your business in their mind pretty quickly.
You want a very thick card that feels nice in your client's hand.
I think it's nice to have a choice, because sometimes you want a glossy card, but for other projects, I don't necessarily want all that.
Your business card is a reflection of you. It should say exactly what you want. With a range of design, stock, and finish options at Vistaprint, it will. Get 500 business cards starting at just $9.99. Just enter promo code TV500 at Vistaprint.com.
That business card, when I make a connection with someone, has to be phenomenal. It has to be elegant and invoke all the things that Diamond stands for.
Just that professionalism is going to make you, as a business owner, more successful just right off the bat.
Vistaprint.com.
Free 1000. Ready for a new breed of broker? There's a name for people like you. Trade King. Switch today. The wildest weather ever caught on camera. Oh my God! Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 70 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm. A flash flood warning has been issued for our area. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Hey, take a look at this. We are watching heavy rain in parts of central South Florida, especially Delray Beach, one of the areas where it has been a gloomy day. Other spots, the torrential rainfall has been an issue. Here's Delray Beach. So right now you are dry, but just off to your west and northwest, it's coming down in buckets. West Palm Beach, you're now under a flash flood warning. No surprise because you have seen heavy rain for hours. Palm Beach, Lake Worth, or is the county, the cities of Lake Worth, Riviera Beach, and West Palm Beach. That goes until 7 o'clock, so your ride home could be tricky as some of those roadways may be flooded in 6 hours. Here off to the north and east of West Palm Beach, almost 5 inches of rain has come down. Further off towards the Clewiston area, over 6 inches in 6 hours. Dave, Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Alex. We're in the lab. We're with hurricane specialist Michael Lowry, and we're talking about hurricanes, and we're also talking about Christopher Columbus. This is the day in 1492 that Columbus landed in the Bahamas. And we were talking about the easterlies taking Columbus from east to west. And that's what happens with these tropical disturbances,
right.
too.
Yeah, these tropical disturbances are like corks in a stream, right? They're guided by the prevailing.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Summertime, like ships being steered from east to west, those trade winds, and that's what these systems take across the Atlantic Ocean, the long journey across the Atlantic.
Now, how did this one, which was Gonzalo, end up in Europe, which is where it is now?
Interestingly enough, right, yeah, this one intensified to Category 4 hurricane and hit Bermuda as a Category 2, square on, Dave,
right,
on
the
Friday.
eye came
but
over
look
that.
how quickly it just accelerates quickly across the North Atlantic. Now, it's not a tropical system. It got wrapped up in this this big ocean storm in the North Atlantic, but brought quite a bit of weather to parts of the UK the last 24 hours.
Look at this picture. This is from the city of New Haven, which is straight south of London, and you can see those are breaking waves up there, crashing up there. Yeah,
we were looking at reports from Scotland earlier. 108-mile-per-hour winds up there, sort of on the north end. So it wasn't technically a hurricane in terms of its structure, but hurricane force conditions across parts of Europe.
They had hurricane winds, and now you're saying it's up there in Scandinavia.
Yeah, and so now it's going to come down and may bring some snow to the Alps.
Remarkable. So a hurricane can be a global feature.
Absolutely, yeah. You can track these things sometimes for quite a period of time after they've wrapped up in these big mid-latitude systems.
Now, last week you were watching Gonzalo and then Faye prior to that, and you noticed something very interesting on a satellite image, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about this for a second, Dave. When we saw this, we always mention them. It's something that we call transverse cirrus bands. On the right side of your screen, you're seeing Gonzalo, and on the outer edge, you see these little striations in the clouds, these band-like features on the outflow. These are what we call transverse cirrus bands, high-level clouds that are just irregularly structured along the
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Earlier had the exact same thing.
And you were telling me there really is not much research on this.
No, I mean, there's been research done on it, but we just haven't found out exactly why or how they form. And they're not just limited to tropical systems. Sometimes they can form along the south part of jets, jet cores. But they're irregular space bands of high clouds. They're on the edges of the tropical cyclones. Here's the interesting part about this, Dave. Just the observation tells us that they typically occur during or after strengthening. So if you see that, and in both of these cases, that was right before Gonzalo became a hurricane, right before Faye became a hurricane. So they indicate that the storm is undergoing some strengthening. Also, if you're in an airplane, you want to avoid these things.
I would imagine
turbulent.
so, yeah.
Very turbulent.
So research on that and research on the eye of hurricanes now, I hear, is a big story.
All sorts of things.
Michael Lowry, thanks so much for that. Alex, back to you.
All right, guys. Well, Superstorm Sandy tested the weather community. Despite a good forecast, the message didn't reach everyone, and as a result, people lost their lives. Many of those same challenges are presenting themselves now as the medical community tries to educate the public on the facts about the Ebola virus. Weather Geeks host Dr. Marshall Shepard was in studio today to explain how saving lives requires more than just an accurate forecast.
The protocols are our forecast, and if you think about Superstorm Sandy or if you think about the tornadoes in El Reno, Moore, the forecasts were great, but people still lost their lives. You can't really forecast or control for human error or decision making, and as I saw what was happening in the Ebola outbreak here, it really said, you know, we really deal with that. There are some parallels here that particular community can learn from.
And you can see more from Dr. Shepard this Sunday when he hosts Weather Geeks. This week's show is an inside look at Superstorm Sandy, the untold stories that have meteorologists all across the country disagreeing with one another. Dave.
When most people hear the term nor'easter, they think wind and snow, and they're right to some extent.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Next.
Let's take these piggies out for new carpet. No, not those. These. Let's get in touch with texture. Something with a twist. Let's look at loops and get a feel for patterns in all sorts of colors. But let's not break the bank. Then, let's get it rolled out right. The perfect carpet? Yeah. Let's bring it all the way home. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Schedule a measure today. Carpet installation is now just $37.
I've always seen No-No on TV, and I always wondered if it worked. And it's definitely, I can see what everybody talks about now.
It's not a razor. It's not a laser. It's No-No from Radiancy, the #1 hair removal system in the world.
It's absolutely no pain.
Can't believe the difference, Al. It's almost hair-free.
No-No gives you no hair with no pain.
Well, I saw it on TV and they said it was painless, right? I didn't really believe it, but now that I'm trying it, it feels completely painless.
And now, No-No is better than ever. Introducing the new No-No Pro. It's up to 35% more powerful. Imagine never having to shave again.
I like a close shave. Absolutely. And this is better than that. I mean, it's gone.
No more facial hair. No more embarrassment.
I've always been self-conscious of my hairline, so putting my hair back, this will be perfect for me.
And for that man in your life, there's No-No for him too.
It looks like just like you've got a fresh wax, but like you don't have to go through all the pain.
Call now and we'll send you the cordless No-No Pro in your choice of colors. Featuring an LCD display, it comes with up to 5 treatment levels. Plus, we'll include everything you need to get rid of your unwanted hair. A set of Thermicon tips, specially designed for your face and body. A buffer pad to exfoliate and polish your skin. Plus, act now and we'll send you the No-No travel case as a free gift. And get this, you can try No-No risk-free for not 30 days, but 60 days with our triple guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, refund the shipping, and even pay the return postage. Try No-No risk-free today.
I need to get myself one of these right now. Absolutely.
For your 60-day trial, go to nonopro.com or call 1-800-955-2390. That's 1-800-955-2390.
I just got charged for my credit score. Again.
You should check out Credit Karma. They're like free.
How?
Ads.
Credit Karma?
Yeah.
Credit Karma. Really free credit score.
I have visions I can't control. Are we gonna help each other out or not?
Everyone who puts their trust in me dies.
Constantine premieres this Friday at 10/9 Central after the premiere of Grimm on NBC.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 70 degrees with a heavy thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. here's our 7-day outlook.
Weather ever caught on camera. Oh my God! Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight. Wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
It will be a royal gathering tonight in Kansas City. The World Series returns to KC. First time since 1985. You feel that beat?
How do you know all that stuff?
I just know.
And you notice no roof there in Kansas City. That means the weather is going to play a big role in the games. This half hour, we're going to preview who has the advantage this World Series when it comes to playing in the elements.
Oh, you know we will. We thank you so much for staying with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Alex Wilson.
I'm Dave Schwartz. Folks in Kansas City are ready for that game tonight. They are really ready.
They are.
There are parades. The drinking has begun.
They've been waiting a long time for this.
Well,
so, yeah,
okay,
right.
Don't
They
yell
should.
at me for that.
Oh, no. I want to. Can we come to the party? Is
What
really
happened to my Phillies? They're gone.
I know.
Oh.
Poor Phillies.
But they won't have, folks in Kansas City won't have the winds and rain like our friends in the Northeast will.
So it's better that the Phillies aren't in it, right?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I know. I hear I'm trying to make you feel better. Hey, New York City, the Mets, the Yankees, they're out of it as well. But you've got some gloomy weather, so not the kind of weather that you'd want to sit at a ballpark with. Dave's here to talk about the rain and the wind.
This is all bad news, isn't it? My gosh, our teams didn't make it into postseason play, and we've got a nor'easter on the way. Hey, sheesh. Well, you know, it's that time of year. This is nor'easter season, the beginning of it. The cold weather months, nor'easter season. We've got the rain falling in Pennsylvania because that's where low pressure is now. But low pressure is going to move off the East Coast, jump off the East Coast, and then strengthen. Bombogenesis is what some of our forecasters here call it, when a storm off the East Coast, as a nor'easter, coastal storm, really intensifies and bombs out. This isn't going to be the storm of the age, but it's still going to be very impactful. If you've got travel to the Northeast, especially New England, tomorrow, Thursday, even Friday, because it's going to be windy, you're going to be impacted. There will be delays here, guaranteed. Some rain out on the eastern edge of Long Island. Scattered showers here in Connecticut on the Merritt Parkway. And north of Boston, up toward Lawrence and Methuen, we've got some rain. Raining back into western Pennsylvania, too. And Pittsburgh now down to 50. What a day here in Pittsburgh. And Cumberland, Maryland. All in association with that area of low pressure. Now, it moves from Pennsylvania to here. You will pop the L in right there, and that shows you where the low is. Off the coast of New Jersey. The forecast moves to the northeast. Where are the winds coming from? The northeast. At least here, there'll be northwest winds in New Haven and New York City late in the week. That'll help to dry us out. But as long as we have an onshore flow, it's heavy rain, it's coastal flooding, and winds. Well, we're going to have some gale warnings, maybe even storm warnings for winds that strong, especially Wednesday night and Thursday here in New England. Things begin to improve by the time Friday gets here, and I'll tell you, the weekend is looking pretty decent here in the Northeast. But for the time being, we're going to have to deal with that area of low pressure. That's where it's going to be Thursday noon. Flood watches are in effect for Maine and New Hampshire beginning tomorrow through Thursday night, and a gale warning in effect on the coast. Alex, back to you.
We know, Dave, on social media, there is a debate brewing over the question, is the storm moving into the northeast and New England a nor'easter? Because when a lot of people think of that type of storm, they think of this very heavy snow, wind. Well, we sent the Weather Channel's Dave Malkoff to look at the controversy and the discussion behind the term.
We could potentially see the eye wall here.
Hurricanes have a speedometer.
Up from the West Indies, cradle of hurricanes, move the terror.
When sustained winds blow over 74 miles an hour, it's a hurricane. If it blows over 157 miles an hour, it's a Cat 5. No meteorologist will debate you on that. Same thing for blizzards.
In its prison of snow.
There is a definition for the term blizzard. Winds of over 35 miles an hour for a 3-hour period of time with falling or blowing snow. In a nor'easter, it's a little more ambiguous. You don't have a definition for the wind speed.
There's a Weather Channel definition.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Let's just have Tom Nizzle explain it for you.
So here we have a low pressure system. The low pressure system is moving toward the northeast into the northeastern U.S., but that's not why it's named. It's named for the wind direction that comes from these storms.
And that ambiguity with the name is what causes some behind-the-scenes fights between meteorologists and weather geeks. Take this coming storm as an example. An amateur forecaster from Connecticut says this is not a nor'easter, but a meteorologist nearby disagrees. Then a student from New Jersey says this will not be a nor'easter, in my opinion. The National Weather Service in Maine agrees, saying it's just a midweek rainstorm. Then the Weather Channel's Keith Carson fires back, it is a nor'easter. Now, Urban Dictionary defines a flame war as an internet discussion that devolves into personal attacks. While this doesn't meet those strict guidelines for a flame war, people are still getting fired up.
Really weather-hardy New Englanders are going to look at this and say, this ain't no nor'easter. This is just a good rainstorm with wind. So this is going to be plenty of room for discussion here.
Well, new signs of life in the Gulf of Mexico, so we got to switch gears and talk about the tropics. Hurricane Specialist Michael Lowry joins us in studio. It's this one, Invest 93L, that we've got a close eye on.
Yeah, Alex, the Hurricane Center literally just now, 4:25 Eastern Time, putting out a special update to their outlook. 50-50 chance, they're saying that this has to develop, but what they're telling us is sort of what I've been saying all afternoon, is that they're finding, the hurricane hunters that are out there, finding a very well-defined low-level spin, a circulation, but the convection, the thunderstorms, you can see that in the visible picture.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
And this is something you were pointing out. You were kind of focusing in on this area where you saw the circulation, but you mentioned that the thunderstorms are really off to the east.
Yeah, this is exactly where the circulation is, but the thunderstorms, the convergence, the winds that are coming together, strongest on the east side, not so much on the west side, so that's keeping this sort of lopsided right now. You really expect to see a clustering of storms, and we're just not seeing that. Reason for that, we've been saying all afternoon, strong upper level winds, wind shear, the winds that are moving in different directions as you go up into the atmosphere, chopping off the tops of those thunderstorms, literally just blowing them away. And some of that moisture, the mid and high level moisture, that's what's peeling off across Florida this afternoon.
And causing all sorts of issues there in terms of heavy rain, the flooding that we've been talking about around West Palm Beach.
A flash flood warning for parts of West Palm Beach. Flash flood advisories or flood advisories are out. Again, this is all associated loosely, at least, with that moisture coming out of the deep tropics.
Okay, so what are we watching for this invest, even whether or not it does actually become something?
Great question. This is how it's going to pan out. This is how we think it's going to pan out. There's that cold front. That front is really the trigger for all the thunderstorms across the southern Florida peninsula today. It's going to follow that front across the Yucatan Peninsula tomorrow, and then by Thursday into Friday, that front's going to stall out. It's going to be in the western Caribbean, but it's going to get tangled up in that stationary front. So the Hurricane Center is now telling us this is what they think is the most likely scenario. If it does that, Alex, then the development odds are going to be much lower. So we think if it's going to develop, it's got to do it the next 2 days.
Okay. But regardless, it does look like some heavy rain for parts of Florida, because a lot of times when we talk about these systems working along fronts, it keeps the rainfall fairly focused.
And the question about how far does that cold front get into the Florida Straits also makes a big difference in how much rainfall they're going to get here over the next few days.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
8 inches, well, we've seen that actually across parts of West Palm today. That's very local, but these are widespread totals. If the front's a little bit to the south, then those rain totals are going to be much less. So hopefully the front stays to the south, the whole system gets tied up with the front, and we don't have to worry about development. The concern, though, again, is that we have so much warmth in the waters down there that if you get convection, if you get thunderstorms going, then it doesn't take very much to kick off a tropical depression or a name storm. But the good news is that this should all stay to the south. That is the possible development area. That's basically the development that's going to be headed.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for breaking all that down for us. Dave, we'll send it back over to you.
Thanks for the breakdown, guys. Well, ahead on Weather Center Live, all eyes are on the World Series tonight. Who you got? Mother Nature may have a little say in the outcome. We've got some cool stats to show you. Right now, 72 and sunny here in Kansas City.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 70 degrees with light rain. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Wednesday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 84. Chance of rain 60%. A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Maybe you didn't know, people with the flu can spread it up to 6 feet away. Or that flu can make chronic conditions worse. Maybe you didn't know any of the stuff your Rite Aid pharmacist knows. But now that you've gotten your flu shot at Rite Aid, maybe you don't need to.
Get your flu shots at Rite Aid today.
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer, and our big Idaho potato truck is still missing. So my buddy here is going to help me find it. There we go! It's out there somewhere, spreading the word about America's favorite potato, heart-healthy Idaho potatoes, and the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women campaign. If you see it, I hope you'll let us know. Always look for the Grown in Idaho seal.
How do you become the best at what you do? You focus, you work hard, you believe in reaching your dreams. That's how America's always done it. And that's how AAG has become America's leading reverse mortgage lender. It's all we do. And we're working to help the next generation of retirees enjoy the life they've worked so hard for. Find out how a reverse mortgage with AAG can fund your retirement.
Call 1-800-791-2075 now for your free information kit, including a complete reverse mortgage guide and DVD, personal stories from people like you, and a helpful family guide for your children and loved ones. Call 1-800-791-2075 to get your free info kit today.
A reverse mortgage is
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
your existing mortgage, pay some bills, or simply fund a longer, safer retirement for you and your family.
Call 1-800-791-2075 today to get your free AAG reverse mortgage information kit and bonus DVD.
In the kits, you'll receive a helpful 3-part guide. The first will show you how a government-insured reverse mortgage allows you to access the equity in your home as tax-free cash. 500,000 people have already done it. The second booklet contains stories told by people just like you who've had their lives changed forever using a reverse mortgage. And the third guide is full of helpful answers and information for children and loved ones. You've worked hard. You've made plans. Now it's time to talk to the people who will work hard for you to help make those plans come true.
Call 1-800-791-2075 now for your free no-obligation guide.
Discover the new reverse mortgage for a better retirement. And find out why more people trust AAG than any other reverse mortgage lender.
Call 1-800-791-2075 today. 1-800-791-2075.
AAG, the best advice for a better life.
Call 1-800-791-2075.
We're almost there.
If your bladder is calling the shots, you may have a medical condition called overactive bladder, or OAB.
Again? But we just went.
Ask your doctor about Myrbetriq, Mirabegron, to treat the OAB symptoms of urgency, frequency, and leakage.
Seriously? It's time to go to the doctor.
Myrbetriq is the first and only medicine in its class for OAB.
Myrbetriq may increase your blood pressure. Myrbetriq may increase your chances of not being able to empty your bladder. Tell your doctor right away if you have trouble emptying your bladder or have a weak urine stream. Myrbetriq may affect or be affected by other medications. So tell your doctor about all the medicines you take. Before taking Myrbetriq, tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. Common side effects include increased blood pressure, common cold symptoms, urinary tract infection, and headache.
If your overactive bladder is calling the shots, ask your doctor about Myrbetriq. Visit mybladder.com to see if you're eligible for a year's worth of savings on Myrbetriq.
Alex, the Fall Classic begins tonight, so who will win Game 1?
Well, the forecast might actually hold the answer for those of you maybe making some wagers. Here's Vivian Brown and Paul Goodlow.
Well, the World Series is finally here. Game 1 between the San Francisco Giants and the Kansas City Royals is tonight at 8:07 Eastern. And we have the forecast for you. Looks pretty good, in fact. Clear skies with temperatures in the middle 60s. Now, in my opinion, that is perfect baseball weather. But I'm joined down by meteorologist Paul Goodlow, and you say not so fast.
Yeah, not so fast, Viv. You deal with Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. It all depends on the wind. Take a look at some of these stats. When the wind blows from the outfield to home plate, we have less less than 1 home run on average this year at the ballpark. Meanwhile, left to right wind, well, just over 1 home run so far per game this year. But then tonight's wind, it's going to be left to right. And that, look at this stat here, 1.5 home runs per game when you have that wind in that direction. And that is what we have right now. So the wind coming basically just off of first base all the way out here to the left outfield. That will actually help the guys who can hit the ball a long way. And the visiting Giants, well, they got some bombers on their squad here. Take a look at the stats here. Buster Posey, 22 home runs in the regular season, 14 coming off of right-handed pitching. Again, Shields on the mound, a right-hander tonight. He's going to throw tonight. Meanwhile, behind him, we have Hunter Pence. He has 20 home runs, 16 versus right-hand pitching. But get this, we got 2 zeros here in terms of home runs so far this postseason. So they're throwing no home runs so far this year. Now, what about the home team? Well, we got Perez. He has 17 home runs in the regular season. He has no hits off of tonight's starter, Bumgarner, although Billy Butler, he has 9 home runs. And he is 1-3, and one of those being a home run against Bumgarner. But again, overall, KC, one of the lowest teams in terms of home runs in the major leagues. They don't have a lot of power compared to the Giants. So again, the forecast with these winds blowing from left to right, if you got tickets out here by the foul pole, the bleachers out here, that's the place to get your mitt, because that's where a lot of the long balls should be flying tonight with the aid of the wind out there. But again, look at the forecast. You're thinking, oh, beautiful weather for baseball, but that wind from the east-southeast, Viv, that perhaps could give the visiting Giants a little edge up in tonight's matchup.
And we do want to point out that both of these are wild card teams.
Yes, the first time since 2002 we've had 2 wild card games make it all the way to the World Series. And hey, the Royals, home team, you can't count out destiny. They're undefeated so far this postseason.
You cannot battle with that, okay? Nope. Undefeated, okay. All right, Kansas City, San Francisco tonight at 8:07. You know, it always surprises me why they don't start at 8 o'clock or 8:30. Why is it 8:07?
So you tune in at 8, the pregame, and then you watch the game.
That's it. Okay, well, you have the forecast, great weather, a beautiful game tonight, and may the better team win. I'm sure it will.
You know, but Vivian asked the same question about time each of the last 2 hours also.
Well, you know, it's something that's really bothered her.
Yeah, I guess it takes a while to set in.
Right. All right, time for our top 5 best videos from around the world.
Come on.
Let's starting with the one from outer space. This one is from Reed Wiseman. It's the moon actually setting on the far side of the spinning Earth.
That is so awesome. Number 4, staying in space. Check out this solar flare. Look at that, huh? This image captured by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory. Check out this flare from Sunday. Have you checked it out? Can we move on?
I've checked it. Okay. Number 3, the remnants of Gonzalo pound the New Haven Harbor in East Sussex, England today. Look at those waves.
The remnants of a hurricane. How about that? Number 2, not often you see a fireball in the sky, much less catch it on camera. There it comes. Fortunately, it didn't hit that house over there.
That is good news.
Trussville, Alabama. The sighting came as the Earth passed through the debris cloud from Halley's Comet.
Interesting. All right, number 1, this one deserves an extra close look because at least 9 towering water spouts were spotted Monday over the central portion of China's largest lake in the country's northwest. This is a look at 3, at least at one time we're seeing.
7. I've counted 7.
These water spouts usually appear on large lakes in the autumn.
9. But I think we've seen those 2 before. You can upload your videos anytime, weather.com/photos. Now, big storm, possibly a tropical cyclone, could be forming in the Gulf of Mexico.
We will show you where it's headed and what the impact will be here in the United States. All of that is coming up next. It is in your Tropical Update.
Okay, this is Weather Center Live, and we are live today. It is 47 past the hour. Your local on the 8s is coming up in just 1 minute.
Seatbelts, headrests, and airbags help you survive a crash. But if you upgrade your headlights, you may even avoid one. See farther, wider, better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
What do you mean homeowners insurance doesn't cover floods?
A few inches of water caused all this?
But I don't even live near the water.
What you don't know about flood insurance may shock you, including the fact that a preferred risk policy starts as low as $129 a year. For an agent, call 188-RAIN-914.
a flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 70 degrees with light rain. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Wednesday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 84. Chance of rain, 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Be one with it, and it will be one with you. Be one with your tires, and the road will be one with you. Angle Tires.
What if there was a credit card where the reward was that new car smell and the freedom of the open road? A card that gave you that I'm 16 and just got my first car feeling. Presenting the Buy Power card from Capital One. Redeem earnings toward part or even all of a new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or Cadillac with no limits. So every time you use it, you're not just shopping for goods. You're shopping for something great. Learn more at buypowercard.com.
We were flattered when Regenerist beat $100 cream, flabbergasted when we creamed a $300 cream. For about $30, Regenerist Microsculpting Cream hydrates better than over 15 of America's most expensive luxury creams. Regenerist, Olay, your best beautiful.
Ring ring?
Progresso.
It's okay that your soup tastes like my homemade.
It's our slow-simmered vegetables and tender white meat chicken.
Apology accepted. I'm watching you, soup people.
Make it Progresso or make it yourself.
When myths become reality, a lost city rises from the sea, and your vacation becomes legendary. Discover all the wonders of Atlantis, including Aquaventure Water Park and the thrill of the Atlantis Casino. Book.
Check this out. With Xfinity Home, we get 24/7 professional monitoring and live video monitoring we can watch on our own TV.
That's way better than our old security system.
Don't be old-fashioned. Switch to Xfinity Home. Connected, protected, home.
What are your neighbors doing?
Oh, are they gyrating?
Yeah?
Yeah. That's the no rain dance. They don't have Xfinity, so bad weather interferes with their satellite service.
The no rain dance. Wow.
You should see them on game days.
It looks like fun.
It's not.
Don't settle for outdated satellite. Get reliable TV service rain or shine with Xfinity.
And now at 1-866-680-4971.
If you missed this Sunday night on the Weather Channel, you'll never know how twisted weather can be. Wicked Weather Sundays, every Sunday night at 9 on the Weather Channel.
Take a look at this new video into the Weather Channel of the massive amounts of rain in West Palm Beach, Florida. Some areas are reporting over 7, even 8 inches of rain fell in the last few hours, over 7 inches in just 4 hours in one spot alone. So we are seeing some torrential downpour, and some of this moisture can be linked to the tropics. Let's get your tropical update with hurricane specialist Michael Lowry.
It sure can, Alex. There's a front there across South Florida, and that's sort of a focusing mechanism drawing up a deep tropical moisture from the Caribbean and from the Gulf of Mexico, sort of, again, loosely tied to the system that we're watching for development. This is Invest 93L. Some new information from the Hurricane Center I want to share with you now. Hurricane Hunter plane flew down there from Biloxi, from Keesler Air Force Base this morning. They've been down there all afternoon long.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Looking right in here, tucked away the very southern end of the Gulf of Mexico, in an area of the Gulf that we call the Bay of Campeche, to the west of the Yucatan Peninsula. That's where we find a pretty well-defined area of low pressure. I was saying earlier, the pressure's down here being reported by the airplane 1,001, 1,002 millibars. That's very, very low. The more organized the system, the lower the pressure. They're finding that spin. They're finding the low pressure. What they're not seeing, though, and you can clearly see this on the visible picture, is much organization to the thunderstorm tops. There are some bright white clouds here on the east side of the circulation, which is tucked away in here, but most of these clouds are being blown away by very strong winds at the middle to upper part of the atmosphere, and you can see them streaming really quickly across your screen here. Now, the Hurricane Center is still thinking, though, this has about a 50-50 shot of becoming a tropical depression or a named storm as it moves off toward the east in the direction here of the Yucatan Peninsula. You have that front up here. It's not going to get above that front. That's the good part. That's sort of a barrier in protecting the northern Gulf Coast from this lifting up to the north. The upper level winds, you can see those clearly on the water vapor picture. Again, all of those cloud tops, all of the moisture, the mid and high level moisture is peeling off toward the northeast in the direction of the Florida Peninsula. So this is going to bring some moisture, I think, to Florida. We'll see how far that frontal zone gets. If it gets far enough to the south, hopefully we can dry out a little bit by the end of the week. Let's talk about the forecast here, okay? So right now, it's on the south end of this front. It's going to basically parallel that front tomorrow, be over the Yucatan Peninsula. If there's going to be development, it's got to happen, we think, in the next 48 hours, in the next 2 days, because come Thursday or Friday, it's going to get tangled up with this front.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Then we can't get tropical development. You can get a low pressure system along the front, but it's going to be feeding off of differences in temperature along that front rather than the warm, moist ocean water that it sits above. So that's the good part about the story, as I think the development now limited, at least the potential, for the first few days rather than the weekend. Hopefully we can be done with this by the time the weekend comes around. But South Florida residents, unfortunately, a soggy week ahead. Dave and Alex, back to you.
All right, thanks. Thank you so much. Well, here's a look at San Francisco, and I'll tell you, this is postcard material.
It really is. You know, although I think in a lot of parts of California, they would say, hey, we'll trade this for a good old-fashioned rainy day. Luckily, the headline behind us is much-needed rain coming to parts of the West.
You know, you're right. It's 71 there, which is the same temperature as it is in Palm Beach, by the way. But it's 40 in Butte, Montana. That's where the rain is falling right now.
So it's a cold rain into parts of Montana. Right. When we look at the drought monitor for California, now you see why I'm saying they'd love to see some rain. All of that deep red, that's the exceptional drought.
It has been so bad. We're like a level 2 drought in San Diego. Here coming up November 1st, we're going to have more constrictions on our use of water. We have had some rain in Northern California, but it's dried out right now. But the good news is there's more on the way as we take a look at the bigger picture here.
Yeah, when we look at the pattern that's setting up, you can see that area of low pressure, that spin. But as you've been pointing out, this area of pink is just moisture that's feeding right into that part of the country. So will allow for some of those rain showers, some of which will be heavy at times.
And I think some of that high-level moisture is coming off of Tropical Storm Anna. Just put all that rain in Honolulu just a couple of days ago. So that's all moving into the west. That is a pleasure to see.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Looks like we've got showers coming for us over the next several days, even some high elevation snow showers as we get into the late part of the week and the storm systems actually move through.
There's our cold front through Salt Lake City, but here comes the next storm. Rain for Seattle, Portland, not down into Northern California yet, but it's coming. Hang on. Your local on the 8s is next.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 70 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Wednesday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 84. Chance of rain, 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
the Northwest tonight could lead to dangerous situations stemming from recent wildfires. Plus, all eyes on the Gulf. Already we're seeing flooding in West Palm Beach, and by the end of the week, some areas in Florida could see nearly
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
of a nor'easter in the Northeast. A nasty few days will leave you cold and wet. From the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, you're watching Weather Center Live. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Cass. We begin in the Northeast tonight, where gloom has filled the skies. In fact, you're going to need the rain boots, the umbrellas, even your jacket, because it's going to be a cold rain for so many of these places. We're talking New York, Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C. A nor'easter could spoil your mid to late week plans and unfortunately leave you cold and wet. Meteorologist Chris Warren is breaking down what you can expect as you head through the rest of this week. Hey, Chris.
Hello to you, Kelly. Let's take a look at what you can expect in the Northeast as this storm is still developing. We are seeing more of the clouds as we look at the combination of the radar and the visible satellite. This shows us where the clouds and the rain are currently located. It's on a darker map to really make the clouds stand out. And on top of the clouds, we're showing you where the rain is coming down. Big portion of Pennsylvania and throughout parts of New England already seeing some of that rain, but this storm has yet to really wind up and get itself going. Another look now at just where the rain is coming down. Some of the heaviest rain now starting to work over parts of central Long Island, and just a few showers in Connecticut, Western Mass, and into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. We're going to keep a close eye on you with more rain and wind eventually on the way. Through the rest of this evening for Boston, you're going to have an increasing chance, at least for some showers, rain, and the wind starting to pick up by tomorrow morning, possibly by about the middle of the morning.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Day for you, and then a chance even for a few storms, and you're still going to notice that wind throughout the afternoon into the evening. Here's that area of low pressure developing, getting stronger throughout the rest of the week. It is going to strengthen as the storm does move up into the Northeast, and this is where we're looking for the rain to be. Heaviest rain will be where you have that darker green. In the coastal areas, this is where you're going to have the chance for some of the stronger wind, possibly some localized flooding as well. Now this is a look at the forecast through tomorrow into Thursday, where the strongest winds are going to be. Again, these winds coming from the east northeast, and at times up around 30 miles an hour, so it's going to be possible to have gusts that are even stronger than that. And this is a look at the forecast for tomorrow, so bringing it back, showers, possibly some thunderstorms right here. That's going to be the story again on Thursday, as it is going to be messy and nasty at times for a few days. Kelly?
Oh, lovely, Chris. And I know when you hear the term nor'easter, you probably think of snow, blowing, drifting, cold snow. But the name actually has to do with the winds, and not everyone in the weather world agrees on what exactly qualifies for that. Our Dave Malkoff jumped into the debate to separate fact from fiction.
We could potentially see the eye wall here. Hurricanes have a speedometer.
Up from the West Indies, cradle of hurricanes, move the terror.
When sustained winds blow over 74 miles an hour, it's a hurricane. If it blows over 157 miles an hour, it's a Cat 5. No meteorologist will debate you on that. Same thing for blizzards.
In its prison of snow.
There is a definition for the term blizzard: winds of over 35 miles an hour for a 3-hour period of time with falling or blowing snow. In a nor'easter, it's a little more ambiguous. You don't have a definition for the wind speed.
There's a Weather Channel definition, there's a National Weather Service definition, there's one on Wikipedia. Let's just have Tom Nizzle explain it for you.
So here we have a low pressure system. The low pressure system is moving toward the northeast into the northeastern U.S., but that's not why it's named. It's named for the wind direction that comes from these storms.
And that ambiguity with the name is what causes some behind-the-scenes fights between meteorologists and weather geeks. Take this coming storm as an example. An amateur forecaster from Connecticut says this is not a nor'easter, but a meteorologist nearby disagrees. Then a student from New Jersey says this will not be a nor'easter, in my opinion. The National Weather Service in Maine agrees, saying it's just a midweek rainstorm. Then the Weather Channel's Keith Carson fires back. It is a nor'easter? Now, Urban Dictionary defines a flame war as an internet discussion that devolves into personal attacks. While this doesn't meet those strict guidelines for a flame war, people are still getting fired up.
Really weather-hardy New Englanders are going to look at this and say, this ain't no nor'easter. This is just a good rainstorm with wind. So this is going to be plenty of room for discussion here.
Certainly not plenty of room to be driving around in waters like this. West Palm Beach, Florida, and this is from today. Some areas reporting well over 8 inches of rain, and that in the last few hours. In fact, the last 4 hours. And here you can see some of that water all the way up to the headlights of both of these cars, pushing that water right along. And plenty of flooded roads here. Remember, you do not want to drive through this. You come across the water, you turn around, don't drown. More rain is on the way because of what is into the Gulf of Mexico right now. And let's get the latest on that from hurricane specialist Michael Lowry.
Hey, Chris, that's right. Looks like a soggy week ahead for South Florida, all courtesy of a lot of moisture from the tropics that is being lifted up into Florida. Take a look at the radar right now. As Chris was saying, 7 to 9 inches of rainfall that's been reported across parts of West Palm Beach. Flash flood warnings in effect for West Palm Beach because of that flooding that you were just seeing. But you can trace this moisture and rainfall all the way into the Florida Straits and all the way back to the southern Gulf of Mexico to this guy here, Invest 93L. This is an area of low pressure that we've been watching now for several days. The Hurricane Center, as of their 4:25 special outlook Eastern time, still saying 50-50 shot of development, most likely though in the next 2 days, and I'll explain why in a second. You can see the turning motion to the clouds. There was a Hurricane Hunter plane down here earlier, found a well-defined circulation, but not seeing any organization to the thunderstorms. You can see not a whole lot of the bright white cloud tops, if there are any. It's on the east side of this. Very strong winds at the upper part of the atmosphere. You can kind of follow the flow from left to right on your screen there. That is what's keeping this one in check for the time being. So let's time this out for you. Right now it's tucked away, but it's going to be moving off to the east and eventually going to be coming very close to that front as it pushes down across parts of South Florida. And now we're thinking getting tangled up in the front by late week. Once it does that, development odds go down very, very quickly. So if it's going to develop in the next few days, it has to do so. But either way, if you're in South Florida, it could bring some rainfall through the end of the week, unfortunately. Stay tuned to Weather Center Live. We'll have more on the flooding there in Florida coming up after the break.
Hi. Are we still on for tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Quick look at the weather. Nice today, beautiful tomorrow.
Tomorrow is full of promise.
We can come back tomorrow.
And we promise to keep it that way. Driven to preserve the environment, CSX moves a ton of freight nearly 450 miles on 1 gallon of fuel.
What a day.
Can't wait till tomorrow.
Great rates for great rides. Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
A possible nor'easter bearing down on the eastern seaboard could affect tens of millions of folks with heavy rain, high winds, flooding, and major travel troubles. We've got you covered with everything you need, starting with Wake Up with Al at 5:30 and AMHQ with Sam Champion at 7. The Weather Channel mornings this week, starting at 5:30.
A flood advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 70 degrees with a thunderstorm. Tonight, thunderstorms early, low 70. Chance of rain, 80%. Wednesday, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high 84. Chance of rain, 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Tonight, tomorrow night, every weeknight, wild weather at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Maybe you didn't know, people with the flu can spread it up to 6 feet away. Or that flu can make chronic conditions worse. Maybe you didn't know any of the stuff your Rite Aid pharmacist knows. But now that you've gotten your flu shot at Rite Aid, maybe you don't need to.
Here at High Acres, we always say, life is better on the farm. And that's because we love what we do, which is growing the best tasting fruit available. After months of nurturing, our orchards are bursting with crispy, delicious apples. And we can't wait for you to taste them. That's why we work with Walmart. They help us deliver some of the freshest apples available, backed by their 100% money-back guarantee.
Picked by farmers, guaranteed by us.
Get up to 20% off and 1,000 rewards points at bestwestern.com with a swipe, a tap, or a click. Get up to 20% off and enjoy breakfast, free high-speed internet, and 1,000 rewards points. Only at bestwestern.com.
Apples are good. A Strongbow hard cider, better. But Strongbow over ice is the best. Enjoying Strongbow over ice with your slow-motion horse, the bestest. Strongbow, world's #1 hard cider.
This is Weather Center Live, and this is a look at what you can expect in the Pacific Northwest, where it is going to be wet for a big portion of the rest of the week. And we're looking right here at the rain coming in already into Vancouver Island, parts of western Washington, and into Oregon. Notice right when it hits the Cascades here, you see less rain and also fewer clouds as you have that downslope action happening. So while you're going to get a lot of rain west of the Cascades, not as much east, where it is much needed because of the drought happening in parts of eastern and Washington and eastern Oregon. This is that rain right through Thursday and Friday. The chances again of the heaviest rain will be closer to the coast and the windward side of the mountains. So where that wind first hits the mountains, rises, you get more rain, and you can really see how that plays into it here, with the yellow being the higher amounts of rain, and that goes right along with the coastal range here in Oregon, also the Olympic Mountains, and then the Cascades picking up some of the bigger rainfall totals with this. So big plume of moisture moving in will help a little bit with this, a little bit with that drought. Again, most of that drought happening in the Columbia Basin in parts of central and eastern Washington. Also expecting a lot of rain the Olympic Peninsula, where there is also a little bit of a drought happening there. More intense drought in eastern Oregon, but not going to get as much of rain, while much of the rain will remain to the west. Kelly?
And Chris, in Oregon, they're already seeing some light snow at those higher elevations. So now crews are frantically working to finish a road project before the wintry weather.
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
That's so dangerous, it's seen 75 crashes over the last 10 years. Keely Chalmers gives us a look at the project.
It's a $20 million project with the goal of saving lives. ODOT is widening a 1.5 mile stretch of Highway 26 west of Government Camp in order to put in a center barrier. The reason?
The area where we're placing the barrier is where the most severe run off the road or crossover crashes had occurred.
According to ODOT, in the last 10 years, there's been more than 75 crashes in this area. 3 were fatal. This is what it will look like when completed. A concrete barrier will separate the east and westbound lanes.
I'd feel a lot safer coming over the pass with my kids.
Any life saved is worth the effort and the cost as far as I'm concerned.
Meantime, ODOT is doing what it normally does this time of the year, and that's getting ready for the snow up here on Mount Hood. It's got its sand and gravel already piled up, its plows and graders out and ready.
The ice on the ground and all the construction over there, if somebody hits that, it could be bad.
So it's really on the drivers to slow down, pay attention.
In the coming days, ODOT crews will be hustling to repave and restripe this stretch of highway in order to reopen the third lane by the end of the month, which means there could be some delays. The speed limit is down to 45, but ODOT says if the weather gets bad, drivers may want to take it even slower.
And that project, by the way, is expected to be complete by October 2016. Well, now we have a look at your 7-day forecast. And by the way, Oregon, Washington still looking at plenty more rain, as Krista talked about. A little windy along the coast, too, and those temperatures in the
A flash flood warning has been issued for our area.
Tomorrow night in Kansas City, as the Royals will be playing the Giants, it looks very cool as well, with those temperatures dropping down into the 40s. But then eventually we'll have this system heading toward the east, and that may bring you a shower or thunderstorm pretty late in the evening. And then on into Thursday, we're going to see that system move toward the east, impacting Chicago right on down